Namaskar and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology, debunking mythology. Sat means truth, logos means a study or science, Sattology means a science of truth or study of truth. Opposite of that is mythology, which means a science or study of fake lie imagination, coming from the root Sanskrit word myth, which is the root of fake lie or imagination, like the mithya, mithyachar, mithyankar. Many words are created from it. Why I have to tell you again and again this thing? Because some of you are joining for the first time. So those of you who have already heard this before, you can skip my introduction, but there's slightly changes I do in every introduction. And then you can move on to the actual presentation. So the in Shastra, if you say in Gita, Veda, Mahabharat, that you are not the body, which is the essential principle, Aham Brahmasmi, is repeated again and again and again and again to remind you. Believe me, if you hear it every day for the rest of your life, then one day you'll realize, yes, you are not the body, you're not the mind, you are not the intelligence, but you are a spirit soul. And that is the actual platform of a humanity, of human relationships. I have very, very special guest, and we are going to discuss about Dhanurveda, especially the archery aspect. So without delay, let us welcome Sri Pankaj Gandhi.
And namaste, everyone, and thank you for inviting today. So we're going to talk about more into the little detail compared to what we talked last time about more types of bows and arrows and quivers. Today is more going to be like how we use in the what is stand we stand for, how we pull the arrows and all those kind of detail. And let's start there.
So people think that when they dig on the earth, they could not find a bow and arrow. That means it was all not there, or maybe it is vanished. So what is the reason for that principle?
So it's actually because of our soil and continuous civilization in India. It's very hard to find, and also a lot of mounds doesn't dig into it yet. And but also we need to understand that the oldest bow and arrows found in South Asian subcontinent is Sri Lanka, which was part of India. And the carbon dating of that bows and arrows goes to 48,000 year old, which is older in any Asian continent we found it till today. The oldest we found is from some part of Africa, around 65,000 year old. So we are in India, if you can, like, let's say even hunter-gatherer thing, we are continue using bow and arrow in Indian subcontinent from 48,000 year old, at least.
Just to give a perspective, even though some of you may have driven, if you are from India, may have driven like the ambassador car. Even if it's very old, you still don't find them on the roads. It's all gone. But some places you'll still find them being used in some parts of India, and the relics can be found also. So it's just like the bows also, they use daily. Like I have a bow, if I don't use for a couple of days, I'm scared the edges might show off or the tip may peel off. You have to use them continuously.
Yeah, and also with that is like all those bows or arrows are made up of like natural material like wood or horn or so it's easily delimited in the soil because a lot of people probably heard about that. In 2018, we have Sanoli excavation where we found the first chariot in India. And in that particular site, they also found some bow and arrow. But what they found the imprint of the bow with one of the burial site. And that was like a female warrior. And they found a bow and some arrows with that because they found some arrowhead made up of bones, and they found those pieces next to it and next to a burial. So again, because it's on the imprint, so we don't know how the bow looks like it, but whatever the Mr. Manjul figured it out and tried to show us, we actually showed in our last video that it's called the Trinath bow. That's how it used to look like it in that particular spot.
Yeah. We can start the presentation and then we'll continue our discussion.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So First, a lot of people ask me is like, okay, Dhanurveda, what is Dhanurveda? It's like, we talk about it in the earlier, or like a lot of people also assume that it's only associated with the archery, but it's actually not. It's actually a science, military science, or it's associated with very many weapons, and how the Raj Dharma work, and how the king's duty should be, and how the army should be worked. So it's a way more than just an archery, and this is just a basic description about like how it is splitted. So in our Sanatan Dharma, we have four major Vedas. Vedas is just like the knowledge. That's what we call it, and it's called Aporoshaya. I'm not gonna go into detail about the Vedas. I'm just gonna try to explain it here that we have four Vedas: is Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samved, and Atharvaved. And all four Vedas also divided into the four different sections called Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and Upanishad. And all those Vedas also have Upavedas. And like the Rig Veda have a Upaveda called Ayurveda. A lot of people heard about it. It's a science related to life and medicine. And then the Yajurveda have Dhanurveda, which is military science. And the Samveda have Gandharva Veda, which is a music science of music. And then the Atharvaveda have more Arthashastra, like political science. So these are the Upveda, or the sub knowledge system associated with those main knowledge system, and the Dhanurveda actually come from there. And also we have so many literature currently available. The reason I put it all the list over here, because a lot of people also have confusion that when I talk to other forums, they always say that, well, we don't have original Dhanurveda anymore. It's actually not 100% true. Yes, we don't like, if we don't have the detailed copy like Ayurveda, we have it, but we do found so many literature where we can able to find the parts in it, like Niti Prakashika by Vaishampayan. So it was written by Vaishampayan and also narrated to the King Janmejay. It's the same one who narrated the Mahabharat also. So in Niti Prakashika, out of 8 chapters, the 6th chapter is directly dedicated to Dhanurveda only. And that's like one of the most detailed, comprehensive work we can able to find till today's date. And also then we have Dhanurveda attributed to Lord Shiva, and then Dhanurveda Vasistha. So Dhanurveda attributed to Lord Shiva and Vasishta is basically the same. There are some mantras are a little different, but almost identical manuscripts. And then we have Yukti Kalpatru. Yukti Kalpatru is more like by the King Bhoj during 10th century. And Yukti Kalpatru is basically tell like how the governance should work and stuff. So in that particular book, there is a 1 chapter associated with the archery and military science, and that's also we can take as a reference that how was it during the 10th century. And then similarly, the 11th and 12th century, the kings of Vishwa II written the Manasollas. So Manasollas also is like an encyclopedia where we can able to find a lot of Dhanurveda related work. And there is one book I forget to add here. It's called Harihar Chaturangam. And Harihar Chaturangam is, I think, 13th to 14th century book from the Gajapati from Odisha and Oriya king. And in that particular book, there is more than 300 shlokas, like one whole chapter is dedicated to the Dhanurveda only. And if you go to towards the more southern in the Tamil Nadu or Kerala side, so there is Sangam literature where we have like also described a lot of detail about how their warriors use, like it's more like glorification of the warriors, but also it's give us a lot of detail about how that during that time people were using the archery and different type of weapons. And then this one is so like I already said that like what Dhanurveda is, and introduction, like so Dhanurveda is just like the Dhanu is, and Veda is the or Dhanurvidya or Veda is the knowledge. So what is basically tell us, like, a lot of people also assume or think that, oh, Dhanurveda is the only like archery thing. But what happened is like in during the time of Vedic India or ancient India, they always their primary weapon is bow and arrow, but it doesn't define that this is the only weapon they use it. So because of that, as a primary weapon, is take it as a like the top position, and because of that, all the literature we found actually driven by the name of it. And also it's like so there is like a different time period is given to us that when should we start practicing the Nirvidya. If somebody wanted to learn, how we gonna learn, when, what is the right time. So this is the right time defined in the Shiv Dhanurveda and Vashishta Dhanurveda, and it's basically tell us like Ravivar, which is Sunday, Shukravar is Friday, or Guruvar Thursday. So one of those 3 days when the tithis are when the tithis of the lunar month are like third, fifth, seventh, 10th, or 13th day. And then what are the constellation is that time is like Hasta, Punarvasu, Pushya, Rohini, Uttara, Falguni, Uttar, Bhadrapad, and Uttarashada. So all these basically tell us that what are the auspicious time when we should start the archery practice or any kind of like weapon practice if you want to learn something new. So this is what is defined in our literature. And in Niti Prakashika also there is one thing which is very interestingly described that I wanted to share here, that a lot of people are aware that what is Guru Shishya Parampara, but if you guys don't know that the Guru Shishya Parampara is one of the earliest knowledge transfer system is defined in Indian subcontinent, and the way it used to work, like whenever some guru learns some new uh, uh, technology or some kind of like a new lesson, he doesn't patent anything, or he doesn't put his name or write the book or whatever like nowadays we do it. He basically share the knowledge to the students and then create the lineage that, okay, example, like if somebody want to learn Dhanurveda, so Bharadwaj Muni is one of the key founder. He actually started it and he created the lineage. But when you read the Dhanurveda, or when we read the archery stuff in Vedas or any other part of the literature, we don't see any person's name that who actually was invented. There's only one place in Niti Prakashika and Mahabharata which basically tell us that how the knowledge transfer is happening. And it's basically tell us that Lord Brahma is the creator of the Nurveda, and Maheshwar or Lord Shiva is the one, the first student, and then from there it's transferred till Janmejay through Vaishampayan, because that's when the Niti Prakashika is, and Mahabharata also. So this was the last uh, section of the book we have it currently. And then also there is 4 different categories of the weapons: Mukta, Amukta, Mukta, Mukta, and Mantra Mukta. And last time we already talked about some more details, so I'm just not going to go in the detail. But this is the 4th category of the weapons is defined in Dhanurveda, and out of which like 12 are Mukta, 20 are Mukta, and then 44 in numbers in Astra and Upsamharastra, and Asurastra are number 5, are total 5. And then later is Mantra Mukta, which are 6 in number. So there are total weapons was defined. And Mantra Mukta, Mukta Mukta, and Mantra Mukta only provided through names. And very interestingly, that in Niti Prakashika, all the Mukta Mukta weapons is identical, if not more, from the Ramayana. Because in Ramayana Balkhand also, uh, Rishi, forgetting the name, who basically teach all the astras to Lord Ram. And it's in that particular chapter, he gives the detail about names about all the weapons you can use, and the list is associated in the Ramayana also come in that particular chapter of Niti Prakashika. So which also tell us that it's a continuous process from Ramayana till Mahabharata. And then there's types of bow. We already talked last time. I just want to show it because we're going to talk more into the how and what the archery is more look like it nowadays. So sarang bow, trinath bow, Venava bow, and Vitastika bow, we already talked last time more detail. So I'm not gonna spend much time on here. And then there are types of arrows which basically have Purusha arrow, Stri arrow, and Napustak arrow. And then there are two different devices called Nalika and Naraka. So the Purusha arrows is basically, if you see in the picture, it's like that, where the front of the arrow is thinner and then it goes to thicker. So these arrows are used for um, piercing the heavy material, and it for like a strong material, like if somebody have to pierce the warrior uh, kavach, or somebody have to pierce like elephant or something like a heavy material in the war, that time they used to use the Purusha arrows. And then the Stri or the female feminine type arrows are used for the distance shooting, which basically have a heavy in the front and then lighter in the back. That's how they use. These two are the main they were using it in the during the wartime. And then for the practice, it's called the Napunsak arrow, which is like a regular practice arrow we were using it. And then Nalika is, if you see in this picture, this guy's using that for the small arrows or the dart arrows. There is like a small wooden hole device where you put the small arrows and you can able to release it. And a lot of other civilization also use similar kind of Nalika. So this is just an example from one Korean movie. And Naraka is basically the arrows, which is made up of full metal, like iron or steel. So this is just an example of Naraka's arrow. And then we have a targets, which also define like a stira target, which is immovable or fixed target. Then chala target, which is moving target. Chalachal is like the target is stationary, but the archer is moving. And dvayachal means both are moving. Like archer also moving and the target is moving. So these four types of targets, the most basic type of targets, were defined. There are way other targets also defined, but these are like for the starting. These are the most basic targets are provided in Dhanurveda. Then quality of the bow. Before that, Aditya ji, if you have any question, please let me know.
Actually, Pankaj, you finish. लेकिन एक बात मेरे दिमाग में आती है.
Yeah.
And that is कि you can speak Hindi?
Yeah, I can speak Hindi.
Okay. My English, I'll speak in English as well as Hindi, but for the Hindi audience, and India has been a country of lions. Now, only lions will use Dhanurveda.
Yes.
But today the controversy is whether the teeth are out or not. This is the quality of the Indian politicians.
They have nothing else to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, but my viewers, Sattology viewers, you need to know, भारत को सोने का चिड़िया पर्शियंस ने बुलाया, जो अजम इस्लाम के फॉलोअर्स थे. Islam was changed in Persia. It was called Ajam Islam because as per the Persian thing, then Persians were all Hindus before, Zoroastrians. And they called India Sone ki Chidiya, not Sone ka Sher. And that's why today the opposition is crying because they can see the teeth just because the sculpture is made big in size. So teeth are becoming more visible now.
I think the problem is like, during the post-independent of modern India, problem is like we basically almost forget about the Kshatriya Dharma.
Yes.
There is like nobody talk about it, and also even like the famous songs of freedom is like on Mahatma Gandhi is like Didi hame azadi bina khadak bina dhal. So if you basically try to propagate these kind of thing, and without even teaching your kids or in your future generation, that the India or the Indians have Kshatriyas, and Kshatriyas are like one of the main people in all over India, not like north or south or east, west, everywhere. And they were and that's basically, I think nowadays we are forgetting that, and day by day it's like going out of the picture. And I think it's a right time to bring it, because you need to teach your generations that It's very important. It's like Purushartha, the Char Purushartha. We need to learn that the Kshatriya Dharma is not just to fight, it's also a discipline. It's all like nowadays you don't see like people have discipline in their life.
No,
Like the
if you look at the parents, oh no, no, stay away from weapons. So only
right,
terrorists can have weapons, only attackers can have weapons, except Hindus. Just think about the logic, Hindus. Think about the logic. Like only
right.
everybody else. Just to, he lives in US, I live in US. The the responsibility of defense is by the family, not by the police. Police, Supreme Court law is there. There's judgment over there. The Supreme Court of US can intervene. The cops can choose to intervene or not to choose and intervene when you are being attacked. That's the law.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the same thing in India. India is even worse. Even the Supreme Court judges are from the UK. They don't have any loyalty to India.
Right. Yeah, it is hard, but again, it's not only about the weapon to use or not. Like at least you can practice yourself. Like it's your art. Why we practicing yoga for a physical fitness? Let's just say like in the modern time, yoga is not for physical fitness, but let's just say for physically fit. So why can't we just practice Dhanurveda at the same time for practicing and be a physical fit? At least like don't use weapon, but at least try to use your art and continues your art. It's your art, it's your culture. So इसलिए it's like it's important, and that's why my whole goal is just to bring this thing out so people are aware. Because whenever I talk to people, they're just like, oh, we don't even have anything like that. Like a lot of people doesn't even aware of anything because no, first of all, nobody wanna read nowadays, and even they wanna read, they don't understand Sanskrit, so they fully dependent on the translation. Let's say like okay, this depend on translation, but at least read about it. But forget about practicing. So that's why like I'm trying to be at least like people can aware of it, and if they have caution in the future, we can like And one of my close friend, he also run the archery training, and he's like in the Indian secretary for our Indian athletes who go for Olympics. So he basically dedicated his life right now to teaching Dhanurveda.
No, my son is a California state champion. I told you last time.
Yeah, yes, yes,
And my kids, we all go for archery regularly. And I play with Martin Hunter and Black Widow.
yeah.
Black Widow longbow and the Martin Hunter. So one thing it comes to my mind, हम तो शेर थे और है भी. And
Hmm.
क्षत्रिय always शेर और है भी.
Right,
हमको गीदड़ बना दिया बोल बोल के हम तो शांति प्रिय है.
right.
Just to tell you, British did not go out of India because of non-violence movement of Mahatma Gandhi. It has been proved by British administrators actually. They have said in a statement.
No,
They
it
ran
was
away because Subhash Chandra Bose.
right. Subhash Chandra Bose, and then the Indian Navy, who basically started the revolt against the Britishers in 1942-43. That was the main reason.
That's right.
If
That's right.
they were not able to control the army, then they can't able to control the public.
And the thing is, this science of Dhanurveda, we have to practice regularly. And Manusmriti says very clearly, Manusmriti, whether
Hmm.
whatever the laws people will make up, because
Right.
these laws are made up to defang Hindus.
Hmm.
हिंदुओं के दांत तोड़ने के लिए लॉज बने हुए हैं कि
Hmm.
आप कुछ शस्त्र उठाइए, मुसलमान उठा सकते हैं, क्रिश्चियंस उठा सकते हैं, ज्यूज उठा सकते हैं, लेकिन
Hmm.
आप मत उठाइए, बिकॉज इट्स ए colonial law. It is
Right.
meant this banning this. All this information is in my books also. Mahabharat
Right.
written,
It's
Pandavas have,
it's originally created in 1884.
no, I have this
The
information is
British
exact.
law.
Yeah, but these information which you're giving is coming from Mahabharat as well as Ramayana. Both the
Right.
places have this information
Right.
because I've captured in my One Arrow One Kill. The name is
Hmm.
One Arrow One Kill, which is
Yeah. The
Bhagwan Ram
Ramayana.
used one
They
arrow
use
to
only
kill
one
one,
arrow to kill. Yep. Yeah.
one arrow. Like 14,000 Rakshas, including Karan Dushan, killed in 48 minutes.
Hmm.
No weapon can do that today.
Hmm.
Russia is bombarding for so months. They could not
Hmm.
do that kind of
Right.
damage.
Yeah. Even with that, like one of the guy, I created like Facebook page, and he asked me the question related that how it is possible. It's not possible, and I was just like, uh, first of all, we don't know what kind of weapons they were using. We have 45 to 55 weapons listed in the detail. We don't know how they're using it, how We have a name, but we don't know what the use was that time. So how can we say that? Because if we don't know something, we can't make it like it is true or false. It's just for the current modern science logic wise, we cannot just judge everything what they say without having. Yeah, we can be like say that like okay, we don't know, but we can't say that no, it can't be happen.
Bhagwan Ram was given between 98 to 139 weapons by Vishwamitra.
Right. Correct.
And Arjun received around 68 total.
Okay.
And but most of those weapons require very high degree of yoga. Yoga doesn't mean becoming
No.
peaceful. Yoga means that controlling your, just going
control
beyond your
your
body.
control your indriya.
Yeah, beyond your body. Like
Beyond your
it's
body,
beyond your
yes.
body, connecting with the soul.
Yes.
And unless you're good in connecting with Paramatma or something, these weapons cannot be used.
Right.
So that's why Pulastya Rishi calls Arjun as the biggest yogi ever walked on the planet. And that is Pulastya giving this certificate, not anyone else.
Right.
It takes one to know one.
Right.
And then it's so surprising. He got the yoga perfection, but he came back to Mahabharat to fight. Because you cannot leave your karma. You cannot leave your duties.
Right.
And if you're not prepared to fight, you will be killed and your culture will be destroyed. Sanatan Dharma is protected with weapons. That is the one Narad Muni tells Yudhishthir, without Sanya Shakti, you cannot protect Sanatan Dharma.
Right. And it's not only Sanatan, it's a dharma. To sustain the dharma, to sustain the way of life, the way of and I'm not saying that our way of life or other people's way of life. It's just a way of life. I mean, the most basic example I always tell people that whenever we go any temple, doesn't matter which temple you go, any temple, doesn't matter which god you pray, you see everybody have weapon in their hand. Just imagine why they do it. And ask the priest. Don't ask me or anybody. Just ask the priest, like why they're having all the weapons. Like we praying them. What was the purpose behind it? Why what they are trying to teach us from that?
Pankaj, you are in New Jersey, right? New Jersey,
Minneapolis.
Yes. Ilan Omar's.
Yes, Ilan.
I am in San Diego. Okay,
right.
We are almost like 2,000 miles apart,
right.
1,500 or 600. Okay, miles apart. Now, tell me one thing. That the US Constitution, which is primarily a Judeo-Christian country, they call it publicly, is protected by the US forces. They're protecting a religion.
Correct.
All the Islamic countries, their armies protect their religion and their culture.
Right.
Only in India, the Indian armed forces protect the constitution, not the religion, main religion. Isn't it ironical that throughout the world democracies, everybody is protecting a religion?
Right.
India is the only country where there is no religion. Hindus are not protected.
I think the problem is like the way they created, or the mindset is like the secular India or the democratic India is way different, or I don't know, it's complicated. It's just like they make it complicated. It's like the whenever people say like, oh, I'm secular, you can't be secular. Either you're religious or non-religious. Secular can be a government, not you, because government should be secular or not secular.
The day India wants, one day India is the de facto Hindu Rashtra. De facto. 85% people. See, they fudge up the numbers. They say 45% are Muslim, 30% are Muslim. They're crazy. They're not saying the truth actually.
Yes.
India is a 90% Hindu nation. Just add everyone and just declare it one day. See, because there is no country for Hindus now. And we are singled out. Ultimately, मुझे लग रहा है we all have to call देवता because हमारा politician कुछ करने वाले नहीं है. We have to consider our politicians as big as our enemy than anyone else, because we have to call Vishnu, we have to call Indra. अभी आप ही बचाते हो सनातन धर्म को हर बार, अभी आपको बचाना पड़ेगा हम लोगों को, because we can't depend on humans now.
Right. नहीं तो वो क्या है ना कि अपना my only in that take is like सबसे मेन इम्पोर्टेंट क्या है कि जो भी है अपने जो हिंदू बिलीवर्स हैं, एटलीस्ट ट्राई देम लाइक वो लोग क्या है कि एटलीस्ट दे स्टार्ट प्रैक्टिसिंग एंड अंडरस्टैंड आवर कल्चर बिफोर, क्योंकि क्या होता है ना कि सरकारें कुछ भी नहीं करती है जब तक पब्लिक उनको नहीं बोलेगी.
बे-
राइट? आज की तारीख में हिंदू राष्ट्र का कौन अगर कोई बोलता है तो केवल आरएसएस है, ठीक है? वो आरएसएस है, वो एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बोलती है, बट पब्लिक कभी नहीं बोलती है। तो आप कैसे सरकार से एक्सपेक्ट करते हो? सरकार तो पब्लिक के लिए है ना। तो जब और पब्लिक को बोलना या नहीं बोलना वो सेकेंडरी है। पहले आप अपने हिंदू जो कल्चर है या अपना जो शास्त्र है या अपने जो अभी कई में कुछ समय पहले मेरे एक मित्र से
मैं
बात कर
आपको
रहा
थोड़ा सा
था।
मैं आपको करेक्ट करूंगा।
हाँ हाँ।
एक्चुअली आरएस तो 1925 से बोल रही है, ठीक है।
ठीक है।
उसके पहले से हमारे संप्रदाय है।
नहीं, वो
उस
महासभा एंड संप्रदाय है। राइट राइट राइट।
संप्रदाय हैव बीन सेइंग फ्रॉम एवर, बट दे डोंट टेक द वर्ड हिंदू, दे जस्ट से भारत एक सनातन धर्म का राष्ट्र होना चाहिए,
राइट
बिकॉज दैट इज द कल्चर ऑफ इंडिया।
राइट
इससे आपको राम राज्य चाहिए लेकिन राम नहीं चाहिए। यू नो हाउ
राइट
व्हाट अ हिपोक्रेसी इंडिया हैज,
राइट।
कि लाइक
नहीं,
हमको सबको राम राज्य चाहिए लेकिन राम नहीं चाहिए।
राइट। और उसमें क्या होता है ना कि जैसे अब कई लोगों से मेरी बात होती है, अब वो लोग बोलते हैं कि यार मॉडर्न फिलोसॉफी और साइंस के पीछे भागो और ये तो मैं बोला कि तुमने कभी दर्शन शास्त्र पढ़े इंडिया के? लाइक अपना जो क्या नाम है उनका, योग सूत्र तो सबको फेमस पता है। बाकी के जो 5 अलग दर्शन शास्त्र, टोटल 6 दर्शन शास्त्र हैं, तो ना तुम उनको वैशेषिका हुआ, वैशेषिका को तुम पढ़ो, उसमें क्या उसको उसका नाम ही वैशेषिक है, इसका मतलब है विशेष, स्पेसिफिक। उस क्या नॉलेज है उसमें, अणु परमाणु के बारे में बता रहे हैं वो लोग। जो मॉडर्न साइंस की अपन तुलना करें तो इट्स एग्जैक्टली मैच पर। तो मतलब तुमको अपने खुद खुद के कल्चर के बारे में, खुद के धर्म के बारे में कुछ भी नहीं मालूम है,
नहीं
एंड
क्या,
यू ट्राइंग टू बी लाइक ओ नहीं, क्योंकि हम तो सेक्युलर कंट्री है, हम नहीं बोलेंगे, हम नहीं करेंगे। तो अपने बारे में तो पढ़ लो पहले, उसके बाद तो तुम समझोगे कि भैया क्यों कोई बोलने की कोशिश कर रहा है।
you know, these people are the new crows in the West also. We have seen America also. We have so many Indian
राइट
Americans.
राइट।
If you organize an intelligent event or a seminar, nobody will come. You organize dandiya, bhangra,
यस
and then some dance festival. Some Bollywood guy who is an enemy of Hindu will come and dance here. They'll go to pay $1,000 for a ticket and go there.
राइट
And our temples also are in the same mindset because
हाँ
they don't have any knowledge. Oh, Hindus, we cannot do any katha here.
राइट
Only puja and get out. Why should I do puja? Close down a temple. We don't need puja.
राइट।
We
पूजा
need
हम घर पे
we
भी
need
कर लेंगे।
shastra. हम घर पे कर सकते हैं.
राइट राइट राइट
In
राइट।
Hindu culture, you don't have to go to a temple.
टेम्पल फॉर
You
पूजा,
can create a
एग्जैक्टली।
temple in your house. Create
राइट
one
राइट
room as
राइट
a temple and just do. So why should we go to temple for puja only? We can do
राइट
car puja at home. Just go to
राइट।
YouTube, learn the methodology car puja, break one
हाँ,
narel in front of a car, you're done.
अरे कुछ भी नहीं, मंत्र चालू कर दो और पूजा कर लो खुद से ही।
खुद से कर लो. You
राइट
don't have to go there. You go
राइट
to temple to learn. Don't go to
राइट
temple to show
राइट
your car. पंडित जी को
राइट।
पूजा दे रहे हैं, उनको $1,000 देने के बाद भी शायद
हाँ
अगली बार एक्सीडेंट हो जाए. Is
हाँ।
there is no guarantee over there because
राइट
of
राइट
the accident depends on your driving skill, not because on his puja. So
राइट।
the point is we have to remove all this propaganda, colonial propaganda.
प्रॉब्लम
In
क्या है कि
third,
लोगों को पढ़ना पड़ेगा, लोगों को वापस से जागरूक होना
नहीं
पड़ेगा, और हो
सबसे
रहे हैं लोग।
नहीं सबसे पहले श्रवणम,
यस
because you learn from it. Yes, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. Like there is a 9-step process. So you see through your ears, not through your eyes. You need to start thinking why I'm saying that.
राइट।
Unless you develop Shastra Chakshu, you cannot see. Netra Chakshu has a limitation. I cannot see beyond a wall. I cannot
यस
see beyond a screen.
राइट।
But if I hear somebody tells me about some far long place in Australia, even I hear it and the source is trustworthy, and I can make it out, you know. And the thing is about what Mahatma Gandhi said. What Mahatma Gandhi is dead now. Is no more, no more
राइट
relevant now. Nobody discusses about
राइट
him.
राइट
You know, today their names. अभी आपका भी नाम गांधी है, but he's a
राइट।
different Gandhi.
यस, आई एम डिफरेंट गांधी।
Yeah. All right, we continue and we'll continue our
Yes,
discussion. You know?
yes, yes, yes. So in this like slide, there is like also in Shiv Dhanurveda we talk about like there are 2 types of main bow, which called yogic chap for practice bow and the yuddha chap for the war bow. And it should be considered the foundation of their strength, which basically is very basic for any archery. That like what happened, a lot of people assume that, oh, I can pull like 80-pound bow or 100-pound bow, but they actually never practice archery. So I think A lot of people doesn't know that they had shoulder injury and stuff. So even in Dhanurveda, I say that is like you need to start what is your capability is. So everybody should start from 20 to 25 poundage of the bow, and then from then onwards, when they get more practice and they build their muscles, they can able to go from 50, 80, 100 pound or beyond. But I think, and that's what this Dhanurveda is also talk about. And while considering the Vanava bow, which is basically a bamboo longbow, and we talked in our previous video, which basically have like 3, 5, 7, 9 joints. So joints are like those bamboo knots, and the bow made up of those bamboo should be have like an even number, not odd number. Sorry, odd number, not even number. 3, 5, 7, and 9. So, but 9 is the hardest, because when you talk about 6 feet bow, and the 9 joint within 6 feet is the hardest. So if there is a 9 joint in 6 feet, it's called the Kodanda bow, which is also used by Lord Ram. And that's the reason it is, because it's very hard to break, and it's very flexible, and it's more but it's very hard to find, because you can't find the bamboo have 9 joints within 6 feet. So that's why it's very hard to find also. And both with 4, 6, and 8 bow are restricted because it's easily break, because of the even number of the joints will easily break the bow. Now the measurement, what they say that like, okay, the divine bow or the Shiva Dhanush is basically 8.25 feet. So it's for only for the gods or the Lord Shiva who use it as a divine bow. And then again, the same thing I just explained about the Kodanda bow, which is 6 feet and have a 9 joints. So it's called Kodanda bow. That's why we call Kodandadari Ram for Bhagwan Shri Ram. And also for the Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, the Sarang Dhanush is used. So I actually working on building Sarang Dhanush. So I already like made made up of buffalo horn and sinew and wood, and it's currently is in the process of drying, which take like 4 to 5 months. So by end of this year, I will be able to start using and practicing if it doesn't break, like if it is successfully come out. So I'm in the process of making this kind of bow, and this is should be like 50.5 inch, which was divided, but what the one I'm building it is like 47 inches. And then sarang bow is successfully used by the soldiers on elephant and cavalry, because it's very easy and it's lighter compared to the longbows, and that's why it was used in the soldiers on elephant and cavalry. And and again, like it's like the bow made up of bamboo, which is like longbows are used by the foot archers or the charioteers. And again, there's like a quality and measurement of arrows. So they say it's like the 3 feet arrows, 2 heart is defined, and then one dhanurmusti is like 6 inch of feather, and then and the thickness should be like a little finger. So 2 and 5 or 30 inch around. So this is like a description, very detailed, and also tell about like what kind of feather can you use to build an arrow. So these are very minute details, very detailed, defined in the Shiv Dhanurveda. And these are the types of arrow. I think we did talk about these one, but I'm just gonna go through it very quick. That types of arrowhead, that what are the purpose for that, and what they are. So, Aramuk is used for pierce the shield, and Shrupa is used for the shoulders or the pierce the enemy bow, which is Aramuk, and Shrupa is this one. And then the Ardhachandra, which very much common, is used to kill the enemy or the destroy the bow of the opposition army. And then the Suchimukha is like a needle type, which is used to pierce the enemy's armor. And the bhala is like a bhala is another Hindi term, but it's come from Sanskrit term called bhala, used to pierce the enemy's heart. This one. And then dvibhala is like it's a double two spear-headed, which basically used to stop the enemy's arrow in the air. And Vasakarna is something like that, which used to cut the enemy's bowstring, because they have these toothed marks over there. And Karnika, which is this particular arrow, used to pierce the iron and steel arrows. And the Kaktunda is used for almost everything. So if you don't have any of those arrows available, they used to use the Kaktunda to replace because it's have like a very big arrowhead and it can be used for for all purposes. Now let's talk about the different stance. So first two are like a Pratyalidya and Alidya. Depend on what kind of hand you are using. In this particular picture, the archer is using for the right hand, but if your left hand, your Alidya will be Pratyalidya, and it will be vice versa because of which stand you are using and which hand you're using. So in this particular position, uh, it's basically used like whenever you bend your front knee, it's used pulling and for pulling the heavier bows. And because that's why you need a strength. So when you need a strength, you need to bend your knee to able to pull that heavier bows and able to pierce the hard materials. And this Alidya one is basically is used for when you have to do like long arrows or like long draw bows, then you can do the distance shooting with that particular pose. So these two poses are very commonly used to use. And then the second like which Vaishaka, which is used for the complex or invisible. So like it's basically you can rotate 360 while standing. So you can able to basically see a small invisible targets like small berries they used to practice on, or like when you put the bird on the tree or something like that, which is very shushma or very small to practice it. So that's what they used to use it. And then Samprada and Padmanasana. So these two also used for the target practice. So when you do the target practice, Sampada and Padmanasana are used to use for the target practicing. And a Sampada and a Jadmukh. So a Sampada and the Jadmukh are used to hit the strong and difficult target, which is this Jadmukh. And Asampada is basically it's something like this one. Oh, sorry, this one. And then the Garudakram, which is also like it's kind of like how to explain it. Garudakram is similar to whenever we see in our Indian temples or outside India the Lord Garuda, and the way he sit in the position in front of the Lord Vishnu, he always sit like this in that particular position. And that position is used for mostly of the charioteer. Like whenever you're on the chariot, they basically use this particular position. And then there are musti. Musti is basically how you hold the thing. So there is a Guru Musti and then there's a Dhanur Musti. So Guru Musti is basically how you are basically, this is like I'm trying to pick up different ways just to give the example, because that is easy so that I can able to show what I'm doing it here. The Pataka Musti is the first one is here. It's basically used for Nalika because when you use the small arrow, you don't have like a whole space to hold like to grab the full arrow. So you basically use only one finger and then just pick up the arrow like that and then pull it. And also you can do the long distance shooting from using the Pataka Musti. And then the second one is a Vajra Musti. So Vajra Musti is like you basically hold your thumb and then basically make like a fist off and then pull the arrow. So when it's basically very tight grip and it gave you very good like a heavy grip. So when you have to pierce like a heavy material and or even for your target practice, the Vajra Musti is very good to be practiced for. And then Sikanda Musti. So Sikanda is basically it looks like the ear. Sikanda is like a ear of a lion. So it's basically look like the ear of a lion kind of grip, and that's why it's called a Sikandi. And it's used also for the strong target. But this one is like you need to be very like when you are very good and practiced, then only you can able to use this because it's a little bit tricky how you can able to adjust your hand with the arrow. So but that's also is very commonly used to use. And then the Kaktundi. Sorry, Matsari. Matsari is like basically you create like a fish face shape, and when you cross your fingers, forefinger and your thumb, and then you pull the arrow, and that's called the Maskani, and it's used for the camouflage. Means that whenever you're doing a fast shooting and you wanna see like a small elements in the tree or anywhere you can, or like from the distance you can't see it, so basically, you have to use like very fast shooting. Then Masakarni is the one they used to use for the fast shooting. And then also Kaktundi. Kaktundi is also for the minute target, like whenever you have to hit like a small flute or a small target, or when you have to do like bullseye or something like that. But again, the Kaktundi also is like you need to be practiced very hard because it's not easy to pull if you are having using a heavy bow, or it's not very easy to pull by your just forefinger and the thumb. So in my opinion, the thumb draw or like Vajramushti is the most commonly used, and it's very like it's sturdy. So anybody who want to learn and start the practicing for archery, this is the mushti should be used for. And then this one is different Dhanurmushti or Sandhan. Basically, so there's like very easy like Adha Sandhana, Urdu Sandhana, and some Sandhana. So Adha Sandhana is basically lower draw, like when you basically on the top of the mountain or like on the fort or something, when you're trying to hit the arrow at the bottom. This is the Ardha Sandhana. Urdu Sandhana when you are hitting on the air or something. So this is the Ardha Sandhana, like how you basically pick up an arrow and pick up an bow and pulling the arrow. And some sandhana when you practicing an archery practice on the target. That's the some sandhana. And then the next one is the method of drawing the bow, like how you basically draw. So the first one is the keshikriya. Keshikriya is like kesh. Kesh is the hair, and the keshik is like basically when you pull the draw till end of your hair. So whenever the long bows or any bows which have like a very long draws, that's how you can able to use the keshikriya. And then the second one is the Sattvic Kriya. Sattvic Kriya is kind of similar to Keshik Kriya, but also it goes to the it's like in Sanatana Dharma, a lot of people have the chutiya. I don't know what the English word I can be used for. So the bow should be pulled up to that point, like the last hair of the back of your head. So it's basically similar terms, but it's for long draws bows can be used for. And but these three are very commonly used called the Vasakarna. Vasakarna actually continue use from Rigveda time, and you basically pull the arrow till your ear. And in the modern term also is like in Dhanurveda, anybody who always try to practice start practice for, I think the Vasakarna is very good place to start from. And then this the second one is a Bharatavya, where you can basically pull till your chest or your neck, and then the Skandavya is up to your chest. So basically, these are the vyas, right? How you're able to draw the bows. And then there are the four principles for perfect shooting. So Rishi Vasishtha tell about the uh, Shrama. Shram means concentrated effort. You continue practicing it. And then Askalit Drishti means the steady vision, that you basically like I'll tell about like in the Dhanurveda philosophy what they talk about. That means that a lot of people like practice about is like I want to hit the target or the bullseye. Well, like, but the point is like, okay, you need to keep practicing in a way, and in a way that if you do not hitting a target like properly for first 2 3 arrows, people get easily frustrated. But what is tell that like you need to be whenever you use the Dhanurveda practice or archery practice, you basically make sure that you're using that one arrow at a time. Means that you practicing in a way that you concentrate yourself that whatever happened in the previous arrow, you forget about it and you don't know what's going to happen with the next arrows. So you put all the focus on that one arrow when you're able to pull it, and then you basically use it. So this kind of practicing is the main principle they are trying to talk about here. And also you need to have like a pranayama, means like good control over your breath. Otherwise, it's not easy to concentrate on that particular target. And again, this is the tell about the Guru Samaksha Shramkriya, means you always practice in front of the teacher or the coach, because sometimes when you make a mistakes, you basically hurt yourself or hurt somebody else. So you just need to make sure that somebody is there you can ask about, because sometimes we create, like we see all these forms and people not aware that how you can able to pull the arrows and stuff, and you basically pulling like wrong way and you basically hurt yourself. So that's why it says that always practice with somebody who's already have knowledge about it. Now the long distance shooting we talked in the previously, this one is, excuse me, this one from the previous sorry, and from the Ellora carvings, where you can see the whole Mahabharat in it. And in that particular one, if you see that particular archer, the foot shoulder is basically bending in the Pratyalidya position, and then pulling the like putting the bow in upper portion, and then pulling the arrow for the distance shooting. So this is what I was talking about when we do the long distance shooting. And this is the pose for that. And then you pull till Vasakarna, till your ear, to do the distance shooting. And it's also used this three or feminine type of arrows to basically have a distance shootings. In Dradvedam is basically used for the strong object piercing or striking hard. So, like also in the story comes in Ramayana that Bhagwan Sri Ram basically pierced the seven different trees by one arrow. So that particular position, if you see it, he's using that Alidya, or sorry, yeah, Alidya position, and then he's basically using the Purusha type of arrow. And then he using the Vajramusti. This is like very common, but it's like very steady pose to pull the arrow. And I think that's it should be everybody use for the practice, and also when you use the heavier bow. So this one basically gave us the representation of how Dradvedam or the heavy piercing should be look like it. And this is like this guy is doing distance shooting, and this guy is basically doing a Dradvedam, which is basically the heavy piercing. That's how the ancient warfare used to use, like if you have to do like similar, like some soldiers using for different direct attack, some soldiers are taking the like opposite army, like armies from the behind. And then the most a lot of people heard about it, but not very many people know that we do have like very detailed description about the Shabdabedi Vanavidya, which basically is target shooting for sound only. And this is just a painting of Prithviraj Chauhan, who basically shooting the Muhammad Gauri and used Shabdabedi Vanavidya, that, and it's very popular poem. But what this particular training tell us that whenever you should practice in the dark, and then, or if not dark, or like fold your eyes, you basically use the different metal plate or something, and some of your friend is keep hitting the pebble or the plates or something, and then you basically keep focusing on that sound, where the sound is coming from. And they say in the night, because in the night time, that time there's less people around and you don't hear very much, and you can able to focus much easier without folding your eyes. So that's why they say in the night time. And when somebody's like, when you're hearing that noise constantly, it start with the 5 feet only, and then from 5 feet goes to 10 feet, 10 feet to 20 feet. That's how you can able to increase your concentration based on that particular Shabdavedi Vanavidya. And that's like the one of the highest level of Indian archery.
And also this is mentioned in Mahabharat also, how Arjun used to practice.
Right.
And see, like all these arts are there. See, the thing is, when you read like my last book was the famous 5 on Pandavas.
Mm-hmm.
And all the Pandavas were so well trained in the Vedic knowledge, plus the
Yes.
Shastra and Yoga. Because Yoga means spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
And the Yoga, they were practiced in Yoga, and they used to they would be prepared for a war. Otherwise, there's no peace. And it's not just Pandavas that they are responsible. See, हमारा हिंदू फैमिली में क्या हो गया है, किसी दूसरे का बच्चा मरे, मेरा नहीं मरे. But Kunti Maharani had 5 sons, and she was ready to give sacrifice for all the 5 sons, to protect Sanatan Dharma, to protect Dharma. You know?
Yes.
So the point is, Dharma means the right thing to do, the good thing to do. And
Mhm.
Pankaj, what we'll do is we'll make the second part of the same series. Okay,
Okay.
we'll start from here, because
Okay.
then otherwise people won't be able to digest so long.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
we'll start with that.
Sure.
So the point
Sure.
is, if you want to make a Sanatan Dharma strong, then
Hmm.
you have to give your children this knowledge.
Right.
Don't, Pankaj, put a bookmark on that slide, and we'll start
Yes.
the second. We'll do a second show tomorrow on this one.
Okay. Okay.
And the point is, if you do not if you do not train your children to defend themselves, they won't stand. Like you said very accurately, the training in arms. I go for regular gun shooting. I practice myself. I'm an instructor also.
Okay.
And the thing is, if you do not train, if you do not practice, it won't give you a sense of discipline. Number one, the
Hmm.
biggest thing in a see if the there's a very famous saying: weapons in the hands of good people results in bravery, like our soldiers, whether
Hmm.
it's American soldier or Indian soldier. But the weapons in the hands of wrong people, like terrorists, results in cruelty. We have seen
Hmm.
that in Afghanistan, you have seen Pakistan, you see Delhi, and India. They're trying to make the same thing. All the
Hmm.
same people they're trying to
Right.
create, because their hatred of Hindus is very high, very high.
Hmm.
So, it's very important to not only do yoga so that your mind is controlled, and
Hmm.
once you are qualified, you're stable minded, good hearted individual, then the weapons training is extremely important for
Right.
self defense, because self defense
Right.
is your responsibility, not police responsibility.
Hmm.
you know we have
Right.
the colonial mindset is the British police wala daroga will protect us.
Hmm.
Nowadays there is no daroga, there is no
Hmm.
police is for post mortem analysis. Like,
Right.
if you want to be featured on Crime Patrol in India, or if you want to be featured on CSI in the US, then
Hmm.
yes, you follow that methodology where police is going to protect you. But if you
Hmm.
don't want to be featured of any of those shows, be ready to defend yourself.
Right. Or at least like practice yourself. It's like it's good for your art. It's an art. Like don't take it as like a weapon practice is like is bad because you might hurt somebody. No, just practice with the wooden bow and arrow. It doesn't hurt anybody.
It
You
doesn't
know,
really.
right? It's just like it's make you more focused. It help you to concentrate. It also help you to basically is like discipline yourself because if you're doing it, it's like you practicing and you basically focusing. It help you very in so many ways, not just physically.
Increases confidence.
Increases confidence because you can able to hit the targets and you can able to focus much better, and it will help like the people who are like students who is doing the is like can't able to focus sometimes.
Believe me, even a 30-yard shot will be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
20-yard shot will be difficult. Like, when I went there, I saw, ये तो बहुत पास में मार सकते हैं. No, no, no.
No, no. Even 10 yard, you can't hit it if you don't know how to hit it correctly.
Correct.
Your arrow gonna goes everywhere, and you're like, what I'm doing?
It took me 1 year to reach 60 yards accurate. Like,
Yeah.
I like, out of 10 arrows, I can put 30 in the bullseye.
Okay.
But my son did 10 out of 10. That's how he won the California State
Because
Championship.
because he's young, he can learn quicker than us.
Quicker.
Right.
And I can
Uh,
see that, like, I can see in other spheres also how focused he is,
yeah.
because he knows. And see, like, one thing about good in the US is, and I'm sure in India also, that that the training methodology is very, very accurate. And one thing I noticed, that even today we practice with fingers, not with the thumb.
Hmm.
Which they show in the
Right.
movies, like aise खींचते हैं.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. I have a 48-pounder bow,
Right.
and you cannot pull with thumb. You have to use fingers
No,
to
those for when you use for the modern bows. Like all my bows, I use thumb.
thumb.
I always use
No, I
thumb
have
to
I have a
grab the
traditional
ring and
recurve.
then pull like this.
I have a
Like
traditional recurve.
right. So those ones are like you use three finger because you're putting the arrow on the another side.
Correct, correct, correct.
Right, like when like I'm a left-hander, so like or like let's say right-hander, so when you do it on the right hand, you put the arrow on this side and then you pull the three finger.
Right, right.
But if I'm at your place, I'll put the arrow on this side.
Uh-huh.
and then because of that it easily fall, because here it doesn't fall because
Fall.
it's stuck. So when you put it on this side, you have to basically, the grip should be very strong. With the
Strong.
three finger you cannot able to hold the arrow.
Yeah, I use three fingers because the fingers, that's what they teach in the Olympic Training Center.
Right, right,
And then, so either you pull like this and
right,
release like this,
right.
and or you pull like this and release. But the problem is, if you put on their side, it can hurt your cheek. Like, it's so technical, so technical.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So when I
Yeah,
when
it
I
is.
when
It is
you
very technical. Yeah.
when you say Sri Ram's hands are not seen,
Mm-hmm.
is circular moving and so fast he's throwing
Right,
arrows,
right.
that means what an expertise he has. I mean,
Oh,
he's
definitely.
Vishnu.
I mean, even in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan Shri Krishna says that I am the Ram in Dhanurveda. Means there is nobody on the earth is better than him. If Swam Bhagwan Krishna is saying that,
No, if your gurus are Ram and Krishna,
right?
why the hell people are crying? I Because they all want, see, the theory is Bhagwan kuch nahi hai, nirgun hai, ye. So therefore, see and understand one thing. I'm not against organizations, and Bhagwan koi nahi hai, nirgun hai, everything is. When you have that kind of mindset,
Mm-hmm.
how will you have faith in Ram? अरे ये तो
Mm-hmm.
आइडिया है, ये तो एनर्जी है. राम को भी एनर्जी बना दिया. कल को मैं भी ये बोलता हूँ कि आप सब भी एनर्जी है, कुछ है नहीं बंदा. So this is the wrong philosophy. You know,
Right.
Ram is a person. Krishna is a person, historical figure. Jesus ka history ka nobody knows.
Right.
But people, there are articles, there are papers published that historicity of Jesus is questioned.
Right.
But the Ram's history is 100% documented.
Right.
Every single thing is documented. Dandakaran mein kahan gaye.
Right.
Everything is accurately, even today it is there.
Right.
So the point is, Ram, if you just make him an energy, आप भी
Mm-hmm.
energy, वो भी energy, then there is, that's why the Ram, people want Ram Rajya, but no Ram.
No. See,
सब
the
लोग को Ram.
Ramayan is very fascinating in different ways. क्योंकि Ramayan में they just talk about like in charitra of Sri Ram. कि when the things goes bad within your life, how you can handle it,
Yes.
and without having any problem. So it's very good lesson for anybody.
सबको चाहिए राम राज्य, सबको राम मंदिर भी चाहिए, and you don't want Ram. If you really want to know Ram or learn about Ram, read Valmiki Ramayana, or if
Yes,
you don't
as
have time,
yeah,
if you don't have time, read my simple book, The Global Footprint of Ramayana, or One Arrow, One Kill, which is introduction to Valmiki Ramayana, but all the important incidents I've covered, including weapons. Because
mm-hmm.
without knowing about Ram, you cannot build love for Ram. Jai Shri Ram, Nara is very good, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to actually follow what he did. You cannot do everything. You cannot cross the ocean. You cannot do many things. You cannot kill
Right.
14,000 people, because he was designed to do that. He was
Right.
invited to do that.
He's
And
very young to start practicing for that.
and he's not a human being. He's half human, half Vishnu.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot say can become Ram, or we all can become Ram. We will be very small. But
Mm-hmm.
Ram is a person. Ram is not an idea. Ram is not energy. Vishnu is not energy. He's energy also from his body, but he's a person at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
See, this kind of impersonal conception, that creates problem, because the West has no impersonal conception. They know they may not have the right person.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a historical figure, but they're defending a person.
Right.
The same is with Islam. They're defending a person. But
Right.
हमको सिखा दिया गलत सलत, उसको बोलते हैं अद्वैता. People do have no idea about Advaita. Advaita means non-duality. Non-duality means Vishnu is supreme. So they don't have no understanding of that. And I can, I can quote shloka after shloka after shloka if you want. Somebody wants to play shloka bombardment game. I call it shloka
Right.
bombardment.
Right.
But the point is, we have to understand our limitations, but prepare. If you don't prepare, you're going to perish. So
Right.
we'll do the
Just-
part 2 of this show.
Okay.
Pankaj, tomorrow we'll do the part show,
Okay.
and then we'll take more questions over there too.
Okay. Tomorrow, same time?
Same time.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Sure.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the
Yes.
show. And put the mark hole. They will start from there, part 2.
Yes. We'll start
And
from
namaste,
there.
all the viewers. Do like and share this video widely. I need a lot of comments, because comments help me to make the programs even better. And please don't write the comments speak in Hindi or English. because I cannot. I will speak what I'm comfortable with and the audience is comfortable with. And this show is primarily in the American studios for the American students. So we'll do English, but I've tried to accommodate Hindi in many parts of this show. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you.